Hey everyone, it's time to introduce two lights now. We've got Kendra accessorized. Yep. She's got a scarf, she's got a nice hat on. We've got our softbox again the 24-inch Photo Diox, foldable. The light is feathered, it's coming towards me, it's not pointing at her. Now what I wanted to do with the second light, which again is back here, it's just the flash using the Rogue flash bender again. I'm using this as a kind of a fill kicker light. So let's do a couple shots. Standard kind of fill, which I have about 30-45 degrees off to this side, and our softbox will do the same. So here we go, straight on, and the light's relatively flat, although it does work. Nice, and that works. It's just kind of, that's a very kind of generic kind of fill. Let's make our fill light even darker. So I'm going to hit select until I get this light, which happens to be my A light. Let's bring it all the way down. So it is now 2 stops under the main light here. So let's see if that will give us a little bit more shape. And now turn around the other side. Yep. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it just started pouring outside. You can hear it kind of out the window there. You might hear that little noise all of a sudden. So I've switched over to manual. When I start getting into multiple lights, I generally prefer to go to manual, especially when I go to 3 lights, but even with 2, because it gives me much better control over light ratios. And if you're serious about portraits, you're going to want to learn how to do manual shooting. I need to know how much light is coming out of my lights. And for that, I need a light meter. Now, I've got a Sekonic 308S here. This is a green one. They don't exist anymore. You'd get a black one. They're about $200. They're not an expensive meter. But think of it as like if you're a baker doing your measuring cups. This is measuring how much light is hitting your subject. And it's a beautiful thing and it's easy to use. You simply tell it your ISO. I'm shooting at 400 ISO in here. And your shutter speed. I'm at 125th. So you put 125, 400 ISO in it. I just hit the measure button. I'll put it up against my face where my subject's going to be, hit the test button, and it comes back and it gives me F14. A little bit bright. Actually, I'm a little close. Let me just back off a little bit. I think my subject will probably be more about right here. Be amazed with just a little bit of distance change it does to the light. I'm at F11 now. Perfect. So F11, I want this light over here to come in at least 2 stops under, and this is where knowing what f-stops means helps. So 1 stop under would be f8, 2 stops would be 5, 6, which also means that this light, if I have it 2 stops under, is going to be 1/4 the amount of power as the main light, and that's a nice ratio. That's called a 4-to-1 light ratio. So let's measure over here. Again, this is at f11. I want this one to be at 5, 6. So let's take a measurement, hit the measure button, hit the test button, and I get 4, 5. I need to come up 2/3. And there we go, 5, 6. So I'm getting 5, 6 here, 5, 6 from this side, F11 here. That's 2 full stops, 4-to-1 light ratio. The beauty of knowing how to do this is you can set up your lights before your subject gets here, and you're not going to have to worry about changes in TTL. What does that mean? Well, with TTL, as you change your framing, as you change your cropping, you're going to affect the exposure. And you're going to have to keep making adjustments as you're going through that. When you set your lights in manual, they're just told, just put out this amount of light, and they stay there. I can measure this before my subject gets to the studio, put these numbers in the camera, and you're done. Now, one final thing, I want to take a measurement of both lights towards where I'm going to be standing, which is going to kind of be where you guys are. So I'm going to put it right in front of my face, hit the measure button, and get my reading, and I'm getting F11. So it's the same as my main light here. So F11, back to the camera, put it in, set it, and forget it. My exposure is going to be perfect every time. I can walk around anywhere I want. I can change lenses. I can have Kendra change clothing. I can change my zooming in and out. It doesn't matter. The amount of light hitting right here is F11. Perfect. So let's get Kendra back. We can do our shoot. I'm just going to have her stand right here. F11, and off we go. All right, so we have Kendra back. Hi, Kendra.
Hi.
Have a nice snack?
Yep.
Okay. We've gone to manual now, so we're using our light meter. We just measured. F11 we know is the answer back to the camera. I could just start shooting. F11, it doesn't matter how I zoom, anything I do, every exposure is going to be perfect. So let's turn this way a little bit, right there, good. I could take one more meter reading just to double check nothing has changed. So I'm at 400 ISO, 125th of a second. There we go, F11. Let's do it. Good. There, right there. Beautiful. Love it. Now, before we continue on, I want to try something. I'm going to do a lens change. Okay, so I just switched over to an 85 millimeter f1.8 lens, a great portrait focal length. So let's see how we do with that. I love this lens. It focuses so fast. Now look up. Now let's get your hair off your face on both sides. Oh yeah. Beautiful. That's a nice look. All right, so now we're controlling the light ratios. We know our numbers are perfect each time. One thing I'm going to change, I'm going to put the grid back on here so we can make the background go darker. And we're going to do one other thing for our fill light. What do you think? Is it time?
I think it's time.
It's time. We're going to add a gel to the fill light. We're going to put red on that so we can add a splash of color to this side of Kendra. And then we'll do one last thing. We're going to move our second light to the background, put a splash of red on the background, and use just a reflector to open up this side of Kendra.